ways that you can move without flaring up your joint pain, it opens so many doors and so many possibilities, because with arthritis, it can be really hard to move without pain. And a lot of people hear exercise and they cringe because they know or are expecting pain. But I have made it my mission to show you that you can actually move with arthritis. So all you need is some space and your lighter weights if you have them. All right, so you're going to grab your weights and we're going to get started just with a warm-up. And so what I want you to do is you're going to curl, lift one leg and then the other. Now, I assume that we have people that have all kinds of different arthritis, from shoulder to hip to knee to ankle. And so if you need to modify any of these, feel free. A lot of it is just going lower with your range of motion. Just stay in whatever feels good to you. So you are going opposite arm, opposite leg. We're gonna start to raise that heart rate just a little bit. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now you're gonna take those weights and we're gonna go into almost like a fly. So you're just gonna kind of take them out to the side and back in. If you have shoulder pain, just be careful with this one and you can drop the weights if you need to. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna open and step to the side. Open and step to the side. Modify the range of motion if you need to, especially for those with hip arthritis. Sometimes stepping to the side can be a little difficult, but if this feels good to you, I want you to try to take as big of a step as you can. Open those arms and step to the side. We have 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now, what you're going to do, you're gonna stand on one leg, doesn't matter which one you start with, we are gonna do both. I'm gonna start on the left. You're gonna step back and take those weights behind you. Step back, you're just staying on one side, and you don't need to take those weights way back. Just take them a little bit past your hips. Start to get some blood flow in the backs of those arms. I'm just staying right on the left, I'm stepping with the right. If this feels good to you, I want you to speed it up. I want you to make it quick. Keep it slow if you need to. We have 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now I want you to switch. So now just switch legs. You're gonna stand on that opposite leg and you're gonna step back. I'm stepping back with the left if you're following me. You're still taking those arms back. And now I want to challenge you to speed it up if you can. Really keep that front leg stable and step backwards. Shorten the range of motion or slow the speed if you need to. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now I want you just to take your shoulder width apart. You're gonna keep your weights for this one if you can. You're gonna just do a slight bend in the knees so they're not locked out. Now, all you're gonna do is just punch forward. So you're just punching straight out in front of you. Alternating arms, you can go lower if this does aggravate your shoulders, but I want you to try to punch out so you're parallel with the ground. If this feels good to you, I want you to speed it up. Think about keeping your core muscles tight, but that doesn't mean like squeezing as hard as you can. I just want you to be aware of those muscles. We're always all about finding core exercises and strengthening our core, but this can be one exercise that can get your heart rate going, work those arms, and get your core going without aggravating those knees, hips, wherever we're dealing with arthritis today. We have 10 seconds left. I want you to keep going. You might feel a little bit of burn in those arms. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, I want you to drop one of those weights. So now you only have one. This is gonna be our first balance exercise. So what I want you to do is you're gonna put one foot in front of the other. Before we do anything, I just wanna make sure you can stand like that. If you cannot, I want you to take that front foot out a little bit wider. That's gonna give you a little bit more stability to start with. But if you're feeling good, I would like you to be one foot in front of the other. Okay, now you're gonna take that weight and you're just gonna pass it back and forth. The further away you go from your body, the harder this is going to be. So to make it challenging, take it way out, or just keep it really close to you. The heavier the weight you use for this, the harder it is. But balance can be super important for arthritis because as you're doing this, every single muscle in your legs are working to keep you upright. Basically, in order to keep your balance, your muscles have to work as a team, and pain can impact those muscles. And when parts of our team aren't working like they should, that's when we get off balance. So we have to train the team to work together. And now you're gonna switch sides and do the same thing. So I always call it building the team. So any balance exercise you're doing is building that team of muscles to keep you upright, keep you balanced, obviously to prevent falls and things like that. But if you're out hiking, walking, especially on uneven surfaces, you have to have balance. And you might notice one side might be a little harder than the other, and that's okay. That's maybe just one side that you need to work on more. All right, we have about 15 more seconds here. We are going for a little bit longer because balance tends to get a little bit easier the longer we do it. All right, 5, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now you're gonna take that weight and you're gonna keep it in your right hand. Now, we're gonna take that left leg, and what you're going to do is you're gonna try to meet that right leg and that left leg and that right elbow. So you're kind of coming across. This is also a balance exercise. And I want you to really try to stay as stable as you can on that right side. If this is painful for you, putting all of your weight on one leg, you can hang on to something. Hang on to a wall or a kitchen counter, whatever is near you. But I want you to use this as a balance challenge. We're going a nice and slow and controlled pace because the slower you go, the longer you're standing on one leg. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and 1. Okay, we're gonna stay on that right leg and we're gonna step with that left. So all I want you to do, just to rest your dumbbell, whatever your weight, whatever you have, you're gonna slightly bend your knees. You're gonna stay real focused on that right leg and you're gonna step out to the side. And I want you to really think about that right hip that you're standing on. Again, shorten the range of motion if you need to. If this feels good, I want you to try to go as far as you can. That's gonna make it a little bit harder. Or we can just stay nice and small here. This is your workout. Okay, now, for those of you that feel pretty good with this, I want you to speed it up. So you're stepping as quickly as you can with that left leg. Start to elevate that heart rate a little bit again. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, last thing before we switch to the other side. I'm gonna show you from this side, but you're gonna stand on that right leg again. Your weight is still gonna be at your shoulder. What you're going to do is you're gonna step back and press that weight forward. Step back and press that weight forward. For this one, if the weight is too much, just drop it. Step back and press forward. Notice how all these movements, we're moving side to side, we're moving backwards, because we don't get that a lot during the day. And moving in different directions can truly unlock arthritis pain. All right, guys, we have 3 more here. Start to feel it a little bit in that shoulder, 2, 3, 2, and 1. All right, now switch the weight over to the left side if you're following me, opposite side if you did the other one. So left hand, bring your arm up into that 90-degree position if you can. Keep it lower if you need to. Now, you're gonna meet that right leg, left elbow. Right leg, left elbow. Modify the range if you need to. I just want you to focus on pulling up that leg with your core muscles. So really try to think about using those stomach muscles to pull your leg up. You'll feel them contract a little bit more. So that way we kind of take the focus off the front of our hip a little bit and we start to feel it a little bit in the core. We have 4 more here. Stick with it. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Now you're just gonna keep that weight just rested on your shoulder, stand on that left leg, and you're just gonna step out to the right. I want you to focus on staying up tall as you do this. Try not to lean forward. Stay up nice and tall and step sideways. If this feels good to you, I want you to increase that speed. A lot of times when we have arthritis, we're really scared to do things a little bit faster or with a little bit more weight, but it can be safe as long as your joint isn't showing you or isn't telling you that it's in significant pain. Some discomfort is okay, especially when starting a new exercise, but it's that significant pain that we don't want. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so this one I'll show you from the side again. You're gonna stand on that same leg you just were. Weight stays at your shoulder. You're gonna step back and punch forward. Step back as far as you can and push forward. This is also one you can increase the speed if it feels good to you. Your arm might fatigue more than your leg, but that's okay. Go as slow or as fast as you need to. We have 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, we're gonna actually set both of those weights down for a second, give you a little bit of a break, but we're gonna go into some more cardio. So this first move, all I want you to do is I want you just to try to pick up your legs just like this as quickly as you can. So I want you to start out slow, just picking them up, trying to get your foot off of the ground. Now, once you have the hang of this, I want you to see if you can kind of speed it up. You should feel your hips engaged. Your knees are just slightly bent. This is not a squat. So we're just doing a small hop here. Now doing a little bit higher impact exercise is usually taboo for arthritis, or that's what we're told anyways. But you can actually do some high impact exercise without flaring up your pain, which is especially important if you have osteoporosis too, which can be common. We have 15 seconds here. I want you to try to speed it up if you can. And then when I say punch, we're gonna switch. 3, 2, punch looks like this. Step and cross, step and cross. Step and punch with the same arm, but you're going in different directions. You're stepping out to the side and punching across. If you feel good here, speed it up. So we're gonna alternate between those two movements for 3 rounds. The goal is to get your heart rate up. So when I say step, we're gonna go back to those quick steps. And step. Get moving as quickly as you can. If you need to, you can just kind of almost feel like you're waddling a little bit, but I want you to try to add some speed to it if you can. You don't have to get your feet off the ground. I just want you to see if you can move. I like to use my arms to give a little bit more momentum here. And we're gonna punch in 3, 2, here we go. Same arm, same leg, but you're going opposite directions. Notice I'm not twisting. You're stepping and you're turning your shoulders to the direction that you're going, because a lot of times if you have back pain, twisting does not feel great. So turn your shoulders as you punch. Whew. All right, and we're gonna do one more round of stepping in 3, 2, here we go. Get those feet moving. This is your workout, so you go as fast or as slow as you need to. I want you to get the most out of this. So don't be afraid to push yourself. Challenge yourself a little bit. I know it can be scary with arthritis, but it is going to be so worth it if we just add a little bit more of that challenge. And last time we're gonna punch side to side. I want you to try to go a little bit quicker than last time. Come on guys, keep going. Last time you should be breathing a little heavy. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now I want you to grab one weight. And I want you to kind of hold it just right down in front. Okay, we're gonna go over the infamous squat. A lot of times if people have knee, hip, even back arthritis, squatting does not feel great. Hang on to the weight right down in front of you. All I want you to do is take the weight down to your knees and sit your hips back. Your knees are slightly bent. It's not this. This is part of a squat, but we're not doing the full squat. Sit your hips back. You're just letting that weight fall between your legs. This should feel easy, but one thing I want you to notice is how the backs of your legs start to stretch out a little bit. I want you to stick your bottom back as far as you can, but I want you to stay looking ahead at me. So we're not coming down this way. Stay looking ahead of me, down, squeeze those glutes as much as you can on the way up. I like to use a wall too. If you're having a hard time with this, reach back for the wall without bending your knees more. Now, we're gonna do 10, where you're gonna come down and you're gonna stand up as fast as you can. Come down to the knees, stand up. Down to the knees, squeeze your hips. Down to the knees, don't extend this way. So still try to stay upright, but I want you to squeeze those hips as fast as you can. 4, 3, 2, last one, and 1. I want you to keep that same movement in mind, and we're gonna try a couple of squats. Weight stays right where it is. Now, we're just gonna do 5 squats like this, then I'm gonna show you a different way you can use the weight. So, now you're gonna add that. Your hips are gonna bend first. Hips always bend first. If your knees bend first, more stress goes to the knees. So, hips bend first, so reach back, then bend your knees. Reach back with your hips first, then bend your knees. Reach back with your hips first, then bend your knees. Because about 9 out of 10 of the people that I work with, especially with knee arthritis, squat like this. When instead, bend those hips back, then bend the knees. I just want to try one more here. And if this doesn't feel awesome to you starting out, that is okay. A lot of times we start with a chair, but this is just a new way of thinking about squatting. So now I want you to take that weight and I want you to hold it out in front of you. We're gonna start with it hugged to our chest. You're gonna keep that same squat motion. Bend at the hips, bend down, and press that weight out. Hips, knees, press. Just go down as far as is comfortable. You don't need to necessarily be Superwoman or Superman going all the way down. Hips, knees, take that weight out. Hips, knees. If this is too much on your back or the weight just doesn't feel right, you can drop the weight, do the same thing, but just press your arms out. Hips, knees, press. Hips, knees, press. I want to try 3 more just like this. Hips, knees, press. 2 more. Hips, knees, and press. Last one. Hips, knees, and press. Awesome job. Okay, now I want you to take one weight and put it right on the ground. I want you to step to one side of that. We're gonna do a lateral. First, we'll start with a step and then we can make it a little bit harder. So all you're doing is just stepping. I like to use my arms on this one. Just whatever feels comfortable to you. Just so we can get a little bit of arm movement into. Okay, now, if this feels good to you, add just a small hop. Just a small hop side to side. Just try to add a little bit more power to it. Try to actually think about clearing the object. And if you want to take it a step further, as always, pick up the pace. When you try to go faster in any exercise, you're recruiting your muscles a little bit differently. Because if we just stood here and we were just stepping, you might feel okay, you might feel some fatigue, but the second you add speed to it, now your muscles have to work a little bit differently. Especially if you try to do things slow throughout the day, you just kind of move through a normal pace. Adding in some speed in your exercise can be very helpful. As long as you can tolerate it though. That is one thing that we need to keep in mind, is that modify for you. We don't want to flare up any pain during this. I want you to keep going. We're starting to kind of push that endurance a little bit. So I want you to keep going. Keep stepping. Stay with me. We got about 20 more seconds left. You might start to feel some fatigue on the outsides of those hips, and that is perfect. That is what we're striving for. Because a lot of times if we just do 10 of something or 10 to 20 seconds, we may not reach that fatigue. But let me tell you, in 60 seconds of this is a different story. All right, now, we'll pause on that one. Now we're gonna keep that object right on the ground and you're gonna step forward and step back. But I don't want any of these sissy steps around it. I want you to actually step over it. Step over it. And I want you to step with some force. So try to step with some force, like a little bit of a harder step than you normally would. Again, that's where that power comes from, by moving a little bit quicker. Now, make sure you're alternating the number or the leg that you're leading with. We can't give one leg more love than the other. Especially if you have arthritis on one side, you're likely favoring that side. Alternate legs. Keep going. We have about 20 more seconds left. When you step backwards, I want you to take a big step, as big as you can. Don't just go around the object. No matter how small it is, I want you to imagine it's a big box. All right, 10 seconds here. 3, and 1. Okay, I hope everyone's doing okay. If you need to take a break at any time, you can just hang out for a second. But if you're feeling good, I want to challenge you to keep going. Okay, so grab both of your weights. Okay, so you're gonna just take them, just rest them kind of out your shoulders. And now I want to go into, it's almost like a squat and a press, but You're going to imagine the same squat pattern we just did, but now we're gonna use it with a little bit more power. So we have a little bit more weight too. Okay, hips, knees. This can almost just be like a mini squat. Press. Bring them back down. Hips, knees, press. Notice I'm not going down super far. If you can go down further, go for it. I am more focused on the power standing up. Power standing up. Don't forget about those hips. Those hips have to bend first. Stand in front of a wall if you're having trouble. I want you to bend at those hips, power forward. Bend at those hips, stand up. We have 5 more. Stick with it, 5. Drop the weights if you need to. 4. Use those hips. 3. 2. And last one. Okay. Keep those weights right at your sides. Okay, now what you're going to do is we're going to go back to that curl and march, but now we have both arms moving, and this is going to be a little bit more of a balance challenge. You are likely a little bit fatigued. Lift that leg up as high as you can. The higher you go, the longer you're standing on one leg. Get those arms moving too. Get some coordination. They bend up at the same time. All right, we're gonna stay here for about another 15 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, we are going to now do another cardio little session. So 3 rounds through. We have about 10 minutes left. So we're gonna give it all we got in these last 10 minutes. Okay, this is gonna be a balance challenge as well, but also bringing in, you need to really think about this one. So bear with me, but make sure you have about, I don't know, about 10 feet of space. You're gonna stand on one leg, and so I am gonna stand on my left and I'm gonna move my right. This is a karaoke if you've ever played sports or anything. You're gonna cross forward, cross behind, cross forward, cross behind. Okay, then it switches. Cross forward, cross behind, cross forward, cross behind. Okay, standing on that leg that you're moving toward, the direction you're moving towards, take that outside leg, you're gonna cross in front, cross behind, cross in front, cross behind, because how many times have you felt like you get crossed up in your feet and maybe you stumble or maybe you trip or even fall? Now, this is actually training that. So I want you to, when you get the hang of it, if you're good with coordination, I want you to try to speed it up. And if you need to, you can just take that front leg, just cross it in front. If this just really isn't clicking, that's okay. You can just cross it in front. But I want you to cross in both directions if this feels okay to you. All right, we're gonna go just a couple more times here because I want you to get the hang of it. Once you get the hang of it, guess what? We're gonna speed it up. If you can. Now obviously be careful with this one because I don't want you to actually stumble or trip or fall. Go as slow as you need to. But when we're trying to think of something and move at the same time, that's when we can get a little bit distracted, and that's when, you know, falls and things like that happen. But we want to be prepared for all situations. Last time, wherever you are. All right, guys, that's movement number 1. Now movement number 2, you're going to grab one of those weights. Slight bend in the knees. And if you want to make this a little bit more challenging, bend a little bit lower. Okay, now what you're going to do is I want you to keep your shoulders and your head looking at me. But all you're doing is you're moving that weight side to side from one side of your chest to the other. Like I said, more challenge is lower. You're essentially going to be holding like a squat. But all you need is just a small bend in the knees. Notice I am looking straight ahead. And I want you to think about those core muscles, as you move. They're protecting your spine. And keep going. Again, if you can, speed it up a little bit. You can also grab both weights if you want to make it a little harder. I feel like we're always, especially with arthritis, we're always fearful to make things harder. Everything is seated exercises and, just moving slowly. Not today. I'm even working the sweat, so I hope that you are too. 3, 2, and 1. We have 2 more rounds, so we're going back to that cross stepping. So I want you to get into it. Take your time on this one to learn it. Don't be frustrated if you don't get it right away. That's okay. This is a more advanced movement, but I'm trying to challenge you in ways that maybe you haven't been challenged before. Cross over, cross behind, cross over, cross behind. Sorry if that's just messing you up, but 10 seconds here. Cross over, cross behind, cross over, cross behind. I want you to think about saying that. Cross over, cross behind, cross over, cross behind. And now grab that weight. Small bend in the knees. Looking straight ahead at me. And you're rotating. Almost kind of like you're rowing a boat, essentially. You can kind of think of it that way too. But I want you to go from one side of your chest to the other. Using your core muscles to keep your upper body as still as you can. Make sure you're breathing through this. A lot of times when we do core exercises, especially, people try to hold their breath. I don't want you to hold your breath. 10 seconds. And then we're gonna do one more round of both of these in 3, 2, and 1. Okay. All right, give me one more time with this one. If you haven't gone, I still want you to try, because even if you try, that's still working your mind. And that is the goal that we want. We want you to work your mind as you do this. Cross over, cross behind. Cross over, cross behind. I wish I could see some of the videos on this, but I'm going to trust that everyone looks wonderfully, and if you don't, that is okay. And just 10 more seconds here. I want you to see if you can make it a little bit more fluid, especially if we have any ex-dancers or anyone that dealt with dancing or thinks they're a dancer. That can come in handy, especially when learning rhythm and coordination. Okay, last time, grab that weight. Small bend in the knees. When you bend the knees, I don't want it to be here. Hips. If you take nothing away from this besides one thing, I want you to think about using your hips more. Every time you sit, every time you lean over, your hips are going back first. Ready? Here we go. Last 30 seconds. Side to side. Think about using your core muscles to keep your upper body as still as you can. You're just moving those arms. 10 seconds. Stay with me. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Now we're gonna start to slow it down just a little bit. So all I want you to do, so this is going to be a little bit challenging if you don't have something to hold on to, but I'm gonna show you this way. All you're gonna do is stand on one leg and you're just gonna swing your hip forward and back. Now, I highly recommend hanging on to something just to get a little bit more range of motion. Just take it forward and back just as far as you can. If your hips don't really bother you, I want you to try to increase the distance here. But if you need to stay small, that's okay too. The goal is not to significantly flare up pain. And now you're gonna take that same leg and you're gonna go in a small hip circle. So a small circle, I'll show you from the front. You're just making a small circle. Now you should start to feel a little fatigue on that other leg. The reason I like to hang on to something for this is because if you don't, we tend to lean over, and I don't want you to do that. Stay as upright as you can. Now rotate directions. Start to feel that other hip 2, and switch. So now you're gonna go to the other side, and we're just gonna do small forward and back, loosening up some of those muscles. Pain and stiffness are the 2 most common symptoms. And so this can dramatically help with stiffness, just these small movements. Now I want you to take it into a circle. Small circle forward, and now you're going to reverse that direction. So now take it back, and we are going in reverse. Okay, now I want you to think that you are hugging something. So you're gonna take your arms out as wide as you can, and then you're gonna come in, and I want you to hug yourself as much as you can. Try to reach your arms around, and you're gonna elongate, reaching those fingers out as far as you can, and then come in. And you're gonna reach your arms out. A lot of times this can feel really good because we don't maybe necessarily take our joints through our full range of motion, like moving in our maximum direction. So sometimes those muscles can get kind of tight. So this can be one way just to kind of get some blood flow, maybe to some of those muscles that aren't getting as much blood flow as others. And one more here. So take it out as wide as you can, and then come back in. Now, you're going to just bend your knees one at a time. And I like to think of this one as almost like a dog that's digging a hole. So you're kind of dragging it and then bringing that knee up. Don't worry if you can't get all the way up here, that's okay. Just go as far as you can. But when you're doing this, I want you to actually think about the muscles in the backs of your legs. Think about pulling your knee up with the back of your leg. Pull that leg up. Our backs of our legs don't get very much love, especially when we're doing just a lot of walking, and so we need to be conscious and to actually use them. And this can be one that can help with some stiffness and some pain, especially in the knee. Three, 2, and 1. Okay, this one you're gonna need to hang on for. So you can either, I like to do this one like leaning up against a wall, or you can just hang on. But all we're doing is just raising up on your toes, coming down, raising up. I want you to try to go as high as you can. If you want an added balance challenge, step away from any support. That's gonna make it much harder. I always like to stay close to a wall though, so in case you do lose your balance, all you need to do is use the wall. Because sometimes we never really know if our joints are going to give out on us, or maybe we don't feel so confident. So using a wall and always having something in case is definitely important. Calves can get really tight. So instead of just constantly stretching them, moving them can actually be much more effective. And you can do this on the stairs, you can do this, make this harder, but just kind of doing just some simple movement can be really effective. All right, guys, we have one more movement. So we're gonna go to that side to side motion. So all I want you to do is just step to the side. But now I want you to slow it way down. Breathe through this. Start to bring that heart rate down. Start to kind of find a little bit of relaxation. But when you breathe, I don't want you to come way up into your shoulders. I want you to put your hand on your stomach. Fill your stomach up with air. Three, 2, I lied, one more. This one usually feels good for people. So what I want you to do is I just want you to take your neck, think about your ears. You're gonna move one ear down to your shoulder and then the other. If yours doesn't move very much, it's okay. You should feel the stretch on that opposite side. taking one ear straight down to your shoulder. And now we just take it to a rotation, so you're just looking one side and then the other. 3, 2, and 1. I just want you to take 3 deep breaths. So breathe in through your stomach. Exhale 2 more. Breathe in. And 1 more. Breathe in. And out. You guys made it. So that was an awesome full body workout. So there are absolutely movements and workouts that do focus lower body, upper body. And so that is kind of a full body cardio, kind of all of it combined. And so I really hope that you did get a lot out of this, and you, if anything, you started to realize that there are movements out there that aren't going to flare up your pain. And that is the most important thing. Even if you found 1 or 2 exercises in this whole workout that you're like, wow, I really like this, or wow, this feels actually really good, do it more often. And that is one way to add in some variety. Do it more often, and you shall notice a difference in your arthritis pain. The biggest thing though is consistency. We have to be consistent with our movement. It's not, work out maybe once or twice a week. We need to be like 3 to 4 days a week. Doesn't always have to be 45 minutes. A lot of times I start my clients out with just 10 minutes a day, because it's like you have to have 10 minutes a day to do something. No matter how busy we are, we all have at least 10 minutes.